Hey guys, Todd here. I want to give you a quick update on my USB4NEO project. That's my USB HID to Neo Geo based off Joypad OS. I've kind of made some changes and adapted it for my own personal use, and I'm going to talk about some of those in a minute, but let's talk about the new boards that arrived. This is the new PCB. It is positively tiny. It's barely, not much bigger than the connector itself. Here's the old one for comparison. As you can see, quite literally half the length. So this will fit a lot closer to the console, so it's not sticking out so much. Let's talk about some new software features. I've got it connected to my Neo Geo MVS, and I've got the backbit cartridge going. Let's go into some games here. I'm going to start with Irritating Maze. Okay, let's go into the UniBIOS menu, cheat database, enable joystick play. Normally in arcade, because the Irritating Maze is an arcade game, MVS only arcade game, and it required some external hardware to use a trackball with it. You can't access that trackball features through the joystick ports on a machine. It requires an external hardware connected to the MVS board to enable it. However, years ago, they came up with a joystick method to play Irritating Maze. So you just go into UniBIOS, enable it, back out of the menu, and then you can coin up, and you can go in, and you can play it via a joystick. However, what if we could use a different input device through the control port, mimicking the joystick movements? What if we could use something like a mouse? If you unplug your USB adapter, whatever controller you're using, plug in a mouse, or in this case, a wireless mouse. You're going to notice the LED change colors, because normally this will be green or red depending on the mode you're in. Now we have blue and yellow. Let's switch it into, let's stay in blue. Blue is joystick emulation mode, mouse joystick emulation mode. I've got a simple 2-button with a third clicky wheel scroll wheel here, and now we can actually use this to play the game. In this mode, left mouse is mapped to A button, the center mouse clicky is the coin up, select coin up, and then the right is start, so we can just play. Now, I can already hear you say, "That's kind of neat, Todd, but who the hell wants to play with a mouse?" I hear you. How about instead of us using a mouse, what if we use an actual trackball? Same thing. Plug it in, clicky, enable it. Oh, look at that. We have, oh, shit. Okay, I'm not going to say I'm very good at this game. But now you have, it's probably not quite as good as the original trackball implementation. However, it's pretty serviceable. Oh, shit. Okay, anyways. You get enough of that. Let's go back out. Let me disconnect the trackball. Let me connect up a regular controller. Let me go back up to the backbit menu. Let me show you something else that works really well on. Something you wouldn't think about. Let's go into puzzles. Let's go into Puzzle Bobble. Disconnect the controller. That's a nice thing about Joypad, is it automatically recognizes the device. If you connect a joystick, it knows you're a joystick. If you connect a mouse, it knows it's a mouse, and it sets the mode appropriate. That's how I've got it set up. So we're gonna coin up here. There we go. Hit start. And now we can use a trackball to play the game. No crazy hacks. This is just the regular old version of Puzzle Bobble. I know there's a version out there modified for some sort of rotary, like paddle style controllers, but that requires a modified version of the game. This is just the standard bog standard joystick based one. So basically, all this has done is mapped the joysticks to mouse movements, or mouse movements to the joystick rather. Yeah. Oh shit. Same thing. We have A button on the left mouse button. Select will be your selector coin will be your middle mouse button, and your right mouse button is your start. But yeah, as you can see, you can use a mouse or trackball to play these. This is going to be kind of limited to control scheme because how many buttons you have on your typical trackball or mouse, and what you can map to in the game. So I'm going to have to probably hand build a couple different profiles for a couple different micing options to be able to support some of these different games. Because some of the magical drops and stuff use like A and B, they use 2 buttons, which with select and start means we need 4. So obviously we have a bit of a conundrum there. But let's move on to something else. Let me pull up that. Let me go back in. I got one more I want to show you. And if you've ever watched my or viewed my Twitter account, you know how much I love Hypernoid. Now Hypernoid supports both joysticks and paddles. And we got something special we can do with this. Now I've already got paddle mode enabled in the dip switches. See, you could do this with joystick mode, with mouse joystick mode. It's not going to be as smooth. However, if we go back in, we're still blue LED. If we hit the button on the USB4NEO, the light's going to change colors. In this case, we changed the mouse modes. Now we're in this orangey amber color. This is paddle mode. This actually, I reverse engineered the paddle spinner a few months ago because I was actually going to release, after I sold through all the actual paddle boards I was going to release a separate paddle controller with a completely re-engineered microcontroller based Neo Geo paddle controller. I might still do that. However, I decided to implement that into my USB4NEO adapter. So we're in orange mode, means we're in actual paddle mode. So let's coin up. There we go. I've got to sort out the coin. You'll notice I had to press the middle mouse button a couple times to coin up. A little bit of bug issue in software. We'll fix it. And now you're going to see this is buttery smooth. Buttery smooth. Woo. Now, maybe in some of these games, your mousing sensitivity is way too high. Like if you've got a high DPI mouse or really low DPI mouse, and this is just not good enough for you. Maybe it's too fast, maybe it's too slow. You can actually go into DPI adjustment mode. To do that, hold down the button on the USB4NEO for about 2 seconds. The light's gonna turn purple. You're in DPI adjustment mode. This is just like on my USB4 adapter. Now, your paddle will still work. However, your left and right mouse buttons will not pass through to the game. They're in DPI control mode. So if you tap the left mouse button, the DPI will go upwards. You'll see now, just barely moving, this thing rockets across the screen. If I hit the right a couple times, you'll see now it's really kind of slowing down. You can get it down to really slow and precise depending on what your preference is. I can see this would be really good in some of these games like Puzzle Bobble, where you probably want to slow it down because otherwise the control wheel, the little adjustment wheel, is just too damn fast. Because it's designed with joysticks in mind, so it's not designed with somebody to input it with something like a trackball or a mouse. But now, whenever you get the one you set, the light's still purple. If I hit the button on the USB4NEO, it'll go back into regular game mode. You'll get your controls back. You'll get your left and right mouse button back. So yeah, I'm going to continue polishing this. The paddle mode works really well. The joystick mode will probably need a little more polishing, and I think I'm going to need to probably go through most of the games that would be reasonable to use that with. I mean, you're not going to use that with like Metal Slug or anything, but you're going to probably want to use that with any of the different puzzle games, Magical Drops, Puzzle Bobbles, any of those guys. You're probably going to want to play with it in there, and I'm probably going to build a couple different modes for those, just specifically tailored to those games. Otherwise, the one size fit all doesn't really work in this case. But yeah, this is something I've been working on. Doing some extra software polishing to this now that the hardware is done, and I'm hoping to introduce this, I don't know, maybe in the next month or two, just depends. But I want to have a little more mature and have a little more features put in place. And I think the paddle controls and the mouse's joystick controls will be very interesting for folks, especially anybody who doesn't have a paddle, any kind of paddle controls. As far as actual true paddle games go, there's only two that I know of, Hypernoid and Pop and Bounce. And this works the same with Pop and Bounce, because Pop and Bounce, Hypernoid uses the exact same controls as Pop and Bounce, where select on start and then the action button is D. It's the same thing in Hypernoid. That's why the left mouse button, left trackball button here is the D button. Works the same way. But yeah, I just want to give you a quick update on some software changes in the mouse and trackball mode, and talk to you later.